Hello and welcome. You're tuned to The Leg Up, your weekly thoroughbred preview show, Trackside's best hour of television, if I do say so myself. Good morning to Stephen Hunt, but not good morning to Paul Mawadi. Steve, we're on our own today.
Yes. Once again, it's been a regular occurrence over the last few months. He's a busy boy, old Paul Mawadi.
He is. He's just getting a bit big for us, isn't he? Where in the world is Paul Mawadi?
Whereabouts?
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't be at liberty to say, but he does get about one, Paul. Hopefully we see him back next weekend. Let's talk about last Saturday. Steve, Rotorua.
Yeah, Rapa Park. Carmen Line winning the feature, the Group 3 Rotorua Stakes. And look, she's always been touted to win a good race ever since she won her debut as an early 3-year-old. She placed in a Karaka 3-year-old classic. And look, things have gone amiss between now and then. But look, she got the job done against a very strong race. In terms of performance rating, I gave Carmen Line 95.4, which sits above the average when you go back historically, and has been the best performance rating since Illuminati all the way back in 2016. So the numbers stacked up. There was a decent margin back to third, and yeah, I think she can build from that one.
Yeah, it was impressive, and she probably was due a win like that. What about La Creek quickly? Pass mark for La Creek? What are we saying there?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a pass mark. Look, if you're back there, you'd be a little bit disappointing that she didn't get up over the concluding stages, but I thought she had her opportunity. Maddie Cameron had a 3-4 back rail, which we thought was problematic 7 days ago when we spoke about her chances, but I thought it was a gun ride for Maddie. Presented the horse at the top of the straight. As I said, she had her opportunity to gun down Carmen Line and just got beaten by a pimple, but she'll keep, and I think that was good enough result / performance to go over to Brisbane.
Yeah, okay, hopefully we see her over there. One man who never lets us down is one Brendan Popplewell. Let's head north. BP, I want to apologise before we start. We missed the pink shirt memo for Pink Shirt Day. Apologies, my friend.
He did. Disappointing team. Oh my goodness. But anyway, we will front of the centre here today for Pink Shirt Day. And yes, wearing proudly the Hawaiian shirt for the Maiden Cricket Club, great club here in the Waikato. And of course, Braxton, my son, represented them this year at the Hawke's Bay Cricket Camp. So yeah, good club and doing a lot of great things actually for the community here. For cricket, that is for sure the Maiden Cricket Club. Well, last weekend, you're right. It was a really good weekend. I thought we saw the effort of Carmen Line winning. Bella Waters, what a performance from that horse on one preparation to be able to win a Rotorua Cup, and then you put into the effort of Masa Hasazumi putting together some really good performances. So, yep, was really taken by the weekend, and look forward to what's in front of us this weekend.
Yeah, you enjoyed being back on course, BP, at the sort of at the back end of the season, but still enjoying that atmosphere when you're on course for the day?
Absolutely, yeah, it's been good fun. Been really good fun actually, getting back out and amongst the people. So, yep, no, love it.
That's the story. Rightio, team, before we get into the races this weekend, we're going to have a look at How Bizarre and It's Back. There's what you might have missed over the last few weeks.
Here we go, they're lining up. Will they all make it to the finish? They're away. Oh, the outside, he's taken a flyer out wide, but coming through in the middle, of course he's fallen at the back. He couldn't be bothered going the last 50. Oh, he's racing away. The man in the cheese cutter, the flat cut, he's after my own heart, that man. I wanna have control. I want a perfect body. 1200 Favouritus Cooper with the outside gate ready and racing from the 1200, and he jumped away. In fact, they're not racing. What am I talking about? Gosh. Thought they jumped. Here we go. They're racing now. There you go. We're off this time.
He should be a tiger for punishment. He doesn't look like an easy ride.
No, he pulls harder than the proverbial teenage boy. And I wish I was special,
but I'm a creep. Oof. Some physical specimens down there at New Plymouth, Steve.
I think it's a decent spell for that young bloke.
Couldn't quite make the distance. And yeah, what do you think, BP? You don't know if they'd be making too many Olympic qualifying meetings or anything like?
Oh, wow, that's good fun though, isn't it? Gee, they turned it on there at the Naki. I didn't see that myself at Rotorua, but I know that the Undy 500 is a special race at the Awapuni race course as well. They always, when they have the students on track. But yeah, look, as I said before, it's been great being out there amongst the people and yeah, just trying to deliver what we do best, and that's of course getting in touch with all the jockeys and trainers and trying to pass on as much information. So yeah, bring it on for the rest of the season.
Yeah, 100%. Lucky the St John's were on hand by the looks of it, Steve. Get the ambulance in. And
Like I say, I think he's in the spelling paddock for a few weeks at least.
Scraped off the track there. Okay, team, let's get back on track here. BP, we'll come back to you. Maidener of the week time, where have we landed here?
Yeah, well, we called it last week. This race out of Rotorua should deliver many winners, shouldn't it? And Joshua Brown. Look, it was one of those runners amongst many in this race that you wanted to have a bet on. It was exceptional first up, wasn't he, Joshua Brown, and then delivered a first up victory. Bernie's Ego running into 4th position. It was a really good run at this venue last time to the races. This was flooded home into 4th position. It was paying the world, and it was really good through the line. I'll be having something on that. Te Ako were keen on their runner. That's finished into 2nd position, Mel Mason. I think we can still follow Detain in that race. I want to have another bet on that horse when that runner makes his way to the races. So I just think it's a race that there should be many winners out of the Joshua Brown race, which of course was poignant to Lance Gussie, with that being win number 1 in his training career.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations. BP finds these maiden races. I love it. You found one with Pure Fiction a wee while ago, and races to follow are what we like.
Yeah, I think the winner on that occasion on Saturday, I think he'll go through the grades. Look, the race shape was totally against it, but it was a gun ride from Lindsay. Got the horse going, who was over racing at the back third of the field. Really did suit those horses in the first half of the division, but he got going on, or she got going on the horse that was 7 or 8 to 1 in the market, and got over in the concluding stages. So you go back to the Damn Midnight Mistress. Look, she didn't have a great winning strike rate, but she was able to win a couple of races, and one of them she performed really well at Ellerslie, beating Dukedom, who was a Group 1 winner, and was 3rd in behind Perfect Fit as well. So a bit of the bloodlines coming to the surface there. Okay,
we've got Te Rapa, we've got Trentham. We're going to start at Trentham. Before we get to that first race, I want to talk about weather and track conditions, Steve. Yes, we've got the drone, you beauty.
Well, the last meeting, you've got to go back to the Group 1 day, size day, on the 6th of April. So we have to rewind the clock probably 5 or 5.5 weeks ago. Back then, the rail was in a true position. So they've had a time to just to redevelop or get this track in good condition heading into the winter. The rail's out 6 metres. Look, it's a soft 7 at present, that is. There's no rain forecasted for the next 48 hours, which is great signs, but those temperatures, as we know, right across the country are in the low to mid-teens. So look, I don't think there'll be an upgrade, but I think you can, I don't know, dive into the form knowing that it'll be around that 7 range.
Yeah, okay. Looking at a soft 7. Let's have a look at race number 7. It's the James Bull Rangatiki Cup over the miles, Steve, and quite a pronounced favourite here.
Islington Lass for Alan Sharrock. He's got a couple in this race at the point end of the market, but Islington Lass opened 320, been backed into 290, and accounts for roughly 40% of the whole, which is quite telling in the first 2 days of trading. Sumi, the stablemate, at $7. Shares that second line with Channel Surfer. Lightning Jack at 9.5. Double figures around Kind Thoughts. King of Hearts at $13 with Kick On. Rockburn at $15. Beavertown Boy opened at $18, is firmed into $15. And also a little bit of specking for Pride of Aspen, even though it's gone out of turn from the CD. So look, overall summary, Islington Lass clearly the best back runner, in fact the best back runner on the card at Trentham at present. Okay, BP, let's go back to Islington Lass's Anzac Mile run, and there's a few competitors we will see out of this. Lincoln Falls, Lightning Jack, Rockburn, Pride of Aspen, but wasn't far away Islington Lass this day.
No, she wasn't, and of course the winner got the right run, didn't it? Mr. Mojo Rising, just tracking Dark Destroyer, cuts back to the rail, wins the race. Just looks like she's ready to win now that she's 3rd up, Islington Lass. She really knuckles down to her work. We know that she's a runner that is going to appreciate the track conditions, because it will sit just in the right spot for her, around that 7 position. It's not going to push out to heavy. It's just ideal for her. I just think the setup around her for this race, with where she's weighted, McNabb aboard. We know he's an outstanding nick at the moment, is Michael McNabb. Yeah, there's some competitors out of that race, I think, that are worthy of considering. The run of Lightning Jack, we know he's a Group 1 performer at this venue, which will be an assist for him, and he seems to be in a good spot with a good barrier draw. But yeah, it's hard to go past Islington Lass, so I've certainly got her as my top pick in the race.
What about Islington Lass, Steve? Look, building a nice record, and no knock running second to Mr. Mojo Rising, who did get the right run that day.
Yeah, the race shape was against her. The map was against her in terms of being sticky. 3 wide, 4 wide for the majority. She had a little bit of cover mid-race where Mr. Mojo Horizon was in that trail position, got the split late. And he's a very good horse. He's performed well in some useful fields over across the ditch. So, look, I don't think there's much against Islington Lass. I'm trying to find negatives. Look, her last start second, even though she didn't win, was a PB 97.6 in performance rating, which happens to be the strongest for any horse in this race at 1,600 metres. There's been a few horses that have performed at a higher PR previous years in campaigns over shorter trips, but when you're diving into the 1,600 metres, it falls into the lap of the favourite Islington Lass, and she looks well placed in terms of the presence of Just Ask Me, who's in the race with that clear high rating. So hard to knock it. The only thing I will say, BP, and I'll just quickly come back to you, is who leads? Are we talking about a potential leader being the on-course ambulance? Because there's nothing here that wants to be the obvious leader. Lincoln Fawns, Liffey, Hacksaw Ridge potentially might go forward. Enrico, who's drawn barrier 2, but on paper, and I know it doesn't always unfold that way, but on paper, this looks to be a glorified crawl and sprint affair.
It does, and that's where you're going to get the best out of McNabb, aren't you? Where he'll have to assess that with Islington Lass, with a barrier draw, and when to make the move and start rolling with her, and that's going to be down to those back markers if there is really no tempo in the race. Look, Channel Surfer, for instance, drawn barrier number 1, but I'm sure that they'll be more than happy to take a position with him. So, yeah, there doesn't look to be any natural leader there, and then sometimes that can get flipped, can't it? When there is no natural leader and you can't find it, you'll end up finding a couple want to go forward. So, yeah, I can't find it. I can't find the leader and who it will be and how genuine the tempo might be, and that could be problematic for any of those back markers. And then it's down to try and, I guess, roll into the race at the right time. And Islington Lass can do that. I think she can sort of still cover a bit of extra ground and roll into the race, because her recent performances suggest to me that she's pretty close to the mark and winning this race if she gets the right run in the event.
Yeah, no doubt. Alan Sharrett holds a big hand, Steve, and he's got 2 others in the race in Sumi and Just Ask Me. Sumi right in this market. Just Ask Me out at $21. Would that be tempting to anyone, or are we waiting for another day for Just Ask Me?
Probably waiting for another day. Look, we only have to go back 6 days to the Open 14 at MP. This was an absolute crawl to the 600. Lisa Allpress aboard Rocker Baby led, walked mid-stages and sprinted home from the 500 and was too good. Look, the last 600, the race was run in 34.69, which is over 2 seconds faster than anything else on the day. So, look, in terms of Sumi, she ran home the best closing splits, but mathematically it was mission impossible just on the race shape. A little bit of a question mark at the mile. I think at the mile, Christelle would just have to hold her up as long as possible. I think at that 1,600 metres, she might be found wanting if she's asked to do a long sustaining sprint. So if Christelle can get some cover in the first half of the field, and what we say could possibly be advantageous for horses that might not be wanting the mile, and in their sweet spot's 1,400 with a soft to the 600 and sprint home. But I do feel at Trentham, the best way for her chances of winning this race is just being held up for as long as possible. And look, Just Ask Me, look, that was a pass mark. If you watch through the line of that vision, which we didn't see, and through the back end of the home straight, he was doing all his best work late, which you expect over 1,400 metres as he progresses this campaign to 1,600 metres. I still feel he's 1 or 2 runs behind to where he was this time last year, because we know he won this race last year, albeit at Alpuni, carrying 60 kilograms. He's got 59, 12 months on, but he's been striking these soft tracks. I just feel his sweet spot and best performances on genuine heavies, which he won't like in terms of on Saturday. But I do feel... Look, he is coming up okay, and his race might be in a few weeks' time at that weight for age at Whanganui.
Yeah, okay. BP, the next race replay I want to have a look at is Channel Surfer, because we know Channel Surfer has a heck of a lot of ability, and this looks strong form, doesn't it?
Well, I think he's a really big danger, Channel Surfer. I do, because he's the one horse that didn't want the rain. He didn't want it to get it too heavy. I really do believe that. I know he's got a little record there on a heavy surface, but I think his sweet spot is in that 6-7 range for him, for Channel Surfer. This is a super effort when finishing 3rd in the Easter. He's got the barrier draw of 1. He can get a pretty soft run in the race. You'd imagine that if he just gets away with them, there's a trail, there's a 3-back fence type of run for him. The ground would be good underfoot. I think he's a a serious player in the race. I think he's the one I fear the most for Islington Lass, just with the way that he can get the right run in transit. He was very unlucky at this venue when finishing third. I know it was a 75, but he was unlucky back at the last meeting here on the 6th of April. Just feel as though he's getting quite close to his best form again, and his best form is left-handed. We've seen him go right-handed way of going. He's had 7 starts right-handed for just the one minor placing. I think the setup here for him looks like a good one, and maybe it's a great way to play him in a same race multi. We'll be looking at a same race multi with him to run top 3, top 4, and maybe a saver of Islington Lass running that top 2, top 3 line. Somewhere in those brackets is where I'll be trying to hit those 2 runners in a same race multi.
Yeah, okay, let's have a look at King. I like your thoughts around the same game multi, BP. Let's have a look at King of Hearts, Steve, running second at Whanganui. At its last run, it was an 8th, then a 2nd, behind Extortion here.
You're coming up well, this preparation. A bit of sense of timing around this galloper, but steps up to, as we say, his biggest challenge to date. Look, again, this race shape was against. They've come out and crawled. He was in the second half of the field. He actually hit the front halfway down the straight, but just peaked on his run. As we say, he was only second up. He made decent improvement first up to second up. Extortion got the job done there for Cody Cole and the team, and Cody always has his horses ready to go, and Extortion, to be fair, was in the middle of a preparation, so probably just had that fitness insurance above King of Hearts in the concluding stages there. But there, like I say, there is a sense of timing. King of Hearts, you go back 12 months ago, 1/3 up at 1,600 metres at Trentham, albeit it wasn't 75 grade. So again, has to take the step up here. But with the minimum, 53 on his back, look, he's won a trial in the interim as recent as Tuesday. But I think he's definitely one to include in exotic bet types. I'm not saying he can beat the fave here, but definitely include this horse in top 3, top 4 maybe, trifectas, first fours, etc.
Yep.
Look, I would have been super keen in terms of including him in those bet types if we got a bit of rain, but I still think he can operate on a slow 7 or a soft 7.
Okay, that's interesting. And last race replay, BP, we've got a 10th. It's Beavertown. We've seen a little bit of money at odds for Beavertown. Not too often we highlight a 10th, but maybe some excuses here.
Look, this is a run where just couldn't get out. Needed a can opener and it never arrived. And the horse has gone to the line with a full tank of gas, basically here with Beavertown Boy. So, yeah, it's a pretty tough watch if you're on at 30 to 1, because if it gets any sort of split, it's going to be definitely going rather close to winning the race. And we know that Adrian Bull, they know how to set horses up for any particular race, and I'm sure they'd be very keen to try and win this race with this runner. It hovers around that $19 quote. I think the track is in the right space for it. So if you're looking for a serious knockout hope, and there are quite a few in this race, isn't there? Even a horse like Kind Thoughts, I find a real intriguing runner in the race. We spoke to Cody Cole leading into that race at Ruakaka and just basically said that I just don't think she's in the right race to be winning. She's going to get back and she's going to have to be very good to win. Well, she got back and she won. And she does look to be a progressive horse. I see she's been kept safe. Has there been any money for her, Stephen, around Kind Thoughts? Maybe it's not the right race for her tomorrow, but boy, I look forward to following her progress out of whatever she does in this race.
It's a tricky market to assess, BP, because, as I say, most of the traffic is on one horse, Islington Lass, and there's just been a nice even spread on 6 or 8 other horses. So, look, she's not friendless. Look, she comes off the bench with 1 scratching. Yeah, it would have been great to see a Power Jack in the field, would have been the obvious leader and a horse that set some tempo. But, look, yeah, I wouldn't try to put you off this horse. We know Cody, he's very good at placing his horses. He'll definitely be fit enough, even though it's early in a preparation still, and deserves his chance off the minimum.
Who have you got on top? Who's going to be winning the Rangatiki Gold Cup, Rangatiki Cup? James Bull.
Islington Lass, yeah, I think she's almost a special for the day, and I can see that price coming in, 290, open 320. I reckon she starts closer around that 240, 250 mark. Islington Lass, the market's suggesting that way. In terms of exotic bet types, I'm keen on what BP's alluding around Channel Surfer, and King of Hearts, again, would have preferred a little bit of rain, but I reckon you can get away with it on an early prep, only 3rd time in, has a bit of sense of timing. Final
thoughts here, BP?
Yeah, and of course tomorrow it is the Odd Surge race meeting, Trentham, so $3.30 is available there around Islington Lass if you do like the horse, and if you're watching the show live right now and with Stephen just give that indication that maybe that money really could come for her and see her close in that 240, 250 zone. Well, $3.30, you can have up to $100 on the odds surge. I like Islington Lass. I'm going to have a little saver on Channel Surfer, but the best way I'm looking to play the race will be around that same race multi with both of those runners, as I said beforehand, trying to find that right combination with Islington Lass and Channel Surfer.
Hey, I got a lot of faith in you. I'll stick with you, kid, that's the bottom line.
Man of the people, BP, isn't he? That's why he's here. Give the viewers a little spruik into the odds surge tomorrow around Islington Lass. BP, Lance O'Sullivan Award time. The coveted title goes to who this week?
It goes to Masa Hasazumi, and it's down to two great rides, and one of them, of course, was for Lance O'Sullivan and Andrew Scott with their win, with his win aboard Carmen Line. But both of them were just absolute gem of a rides, weren't they? I mean, this ride here in the Cup with Bella Waters just had to dive through, get the right gaps, and she was able to deliver. LJ was massive in that race, and then the same here. And even Stephen said both rides were winning rides, weren't they? I mean, La Creek and Matt Cameron did everything right, moved at the right time from that position, got into a spot where you thought she was going to win, and Masa has just followed through and got that split at the right time and gets up with Carmen Line. So, yep, two terrific wins there by Masa Hasazumi, and he certainly deserves that gong this week of the Lance O'Sullivan Award, and an award for him really where he's been riding so well over the last couple of months. Without a doubt, our most improved rider that we've seen through the summer months is Masa Hasazumi.
Yeah, 100% echo those comments, and they were both very good rides. Got the luck at the right time with Bella Waters as well, and be a huge thrill to take out both features on a big day there at Rotorua. Okay, team, race number 2 on the card. Happy 80th birthday, Gary Chittick. The 1100 metres. Small but select, I'll call this, Steve.
The Group 1 performer in Babylon Berlin resumes here. $1.65. Now, that's the original quote. Got as short as $1.60 yesterday, but just back out to $1.65. Front of We Will Rock, $2.60 off a peak at $2.70, $2.80, excuse me. Bolt Bell on that third line at $9.50. Old Town Road resumes here at $11 and Centrebell at $16. So in terms of betting picture, look, We Will Rock holds 2 times more money versus Babylon Berlin. Early stages, it will be fascinating to see where those SPs lie.
Yeah, okay, BP. We probably don't have to spend too long on this race, but we do want to have a look at Babylon Berlin at the trials leading into this.
Yeah, it's pretty much the norm for Babylon Berlin when she goes to the trials. This is what she does, and she was fresh, she was ready. It was 850 metres, and she looks in a good space. Look, an interesting time to be able to see her, isn't it? With her last run, of course, in the railway. So she's had a really good freshen up, and they're not too sure where this could lead and what could be in front of her. So. Yeah, it's an interesting play to see such a high-class horse in this race, but look, they might go to Brisbane if she really does perform well, or there might be a couple of other races floating around before they look into that spring and summer assignment. So she looks in a great spot. She gets that weight relief back to 60 kilograms. Absolutely intriguing race, though, isn't it? Because We Will Rock, he showed that he was back. He gets that weight relief on her as well. Really intriguing battle between these two horses. Yeah, I find it hard to split them. I'm going with the horse that's shown us for time and time again in Babylon Berlin. But boy, Stephen, this was a win that just sort of announced that he's back as We Will Rock.
Yeah, 100%. Look, we had just been looking to find that real fitness level over the early stages of the autumn, and he was peaking here, third up, blinkers on. The stable were a little bit nervous earlier this preparation that he just wasn't quite there in the coat, etc.
So was I.
But he's been improving just slightly every start, and I reckon he can hold that figure or even improve on that figure that what he showed last start. We Will Rock at Whanganui. It was a strong number. He led on that occasion. He ran them along to the 600, and he had just that sustaining sprint over the 1200 metres. I thought the map was interesting, just looking at the map in general. Look, Babylon Berlin drew on barrier 1, you'd think should be in the conversation to be the leader, but I just feel that at times in the last 12 months, they've been happy to take a sit and get some cover with Babylon Berlin being first up. That might be the option where Bold Bell, We Will Rock. I think they'll probably come across and could easily cross Babylon Berlin. Now, who leads, I'm not sure. Obviously, We Will Rock led at Whanganui last start where Bold Bell had drawn a wider gate and We Will Rock had drawn barrier 1. Well, they changed here. Babylon Berlin drawn 1, Bold Bell drawn 2. Now, Bold Bell, when she's presented at Trentham, she's quite often led. So I just thought there was an opportunity that they might lead, and that might see We Will Rock second outer. Now, if We Will Rock can sit second outer, I think that's advantageous to his winning chances because he sits perfectly.
The tempo, sort of.
Exactly. He can control the tempo and he can control if Bold Bell stays on the rail when Babylon Berlin gets out and presents for the home turn. So, look, I'm just looking at it as a crystal ball, and that all depends. Babylon Berlin could easily lead here from barrier 1, but I just feel with that fitness edge around Bold Bell and We Will Rock, they might go forward and sit 1-2 in the map. And look, I've got We Will Rock on top. I'm very keen on that fitness edge, and if, like I say, if he can reproduce that figure which he produced at Whanganui, he's going to be very hard to beat. And like I say, I think there's still a bit of wiggle room in terms of the ceiling that he can improve. $1.65 versus $2.60, $2.70. I reckon they come really close together tomorrow afternoon. I think there'll be hardly anything between them in terms of an SP. I could see them basically trading between even money, the pair. So, look, I think Babylon Berlin might start favourite fractionally, but as I say, I think those prices come really close together come tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, so you're with We Will Rock at the price?
Yeah, I'm very keen on We Will Rock.
Okay.
I've got it in terms of one of my betting profiles later in the show, which we'll touch on. But yeah, look, I think he's the bet at the price, knowing the fact that they'll come closer together and Babylon Berlin will start closer to $2 than $1.50.
Okay, BP, we'll come to you. I do want to have a look at the trial of Old Town Road first. Old Town Road, a winner of 7 races. And then you can run us through this and then just give us your final thoughts on how you're going to attack it from a betting standpoint. You probably tell us to take the odds surge around We Will Rock.
Well, I mean, you very much could do that, Thaddeus Taylor. Yeah, Old Town Road, he's a 7-race winner. All 7 of those wins have been on a heavy surface, and that's a good trial. I think he's put himself in a position where he's ready to show something first up, but then he just might be looking for the heavens to open up. So often we get to this race meeting at Awapuni, like last year when Just Ask Me won the Rangatiki Gold Cup. It was a heavy 10, but it's just not going to be in that bracket just yet. We haven't quite had the rain in some regions yet. But like I keep telling some of the trainers last weekend, don't worry, it will come and it'll be here for a number of months. But he just might be one of those horses that is just looking for a little bit more extra aqua and maybe a fitness run on side leading into those real heavy tracks coming up might be the key for him. Yeah, Bold Bell, I watched Bold Bell in that race and I thought, I want to be on next time to the races. It just happened that she's ended up in this race for Bold Bell, but she's not too far away from the mark, is she? Bet-wise, it's $2.75 for the exacta of Babylon Berlin We Will Rock, or it's $4.05 for We Will Rock and Babylon Berlin. Stephen mentioned there could be some wriggle room there with the market, so is there a chance to play maybe the We Will Rock exacta if that is going to move tighter in the market, because then that will move along with it. So I'm a little undecided, but I'm going with Babylon Berlin, just maybe looking from a class point of view, but We Will Rock was so good last time to the races, so I'm going to make my mind up around one of those bet types. I don't think the Quinella's worth it though, is it? I mean, what will the Quinella be? Sort of a $1.50, something like that?
Yeah, won't be huge. I like what you're thinking though. With take the We Will Rock exacta now. We Will Rock Titans, Babylon Berlin drifts. You can take the exacta the other way, closer to race start time. As I said, man of the people. This is why we have him on. So BP keen on Babylon Berlin to win. Steve with We Will Rock in a tricky little race.
Well, I know I had it coming. I know I can't be free.
Doing hard time for another week. We haven't got Paul. Steve's going to step in. And look, I'm sure it must be Beavertown boy for hard time this week.
It was a couple of weeks ago. No, we're going to go more recent than that. In fact, last Wednesday, Cambridge Synthetic, winning for all. The passionate owners cheering this horse home. Look, it was in the right race. It trialled well in the last 12 months on the synthetic. You had a freezing favourite in Stony Breck. Had the perfect run in transit, and here comes Mr. Universe off its back and nabs it right on the line.
Stephen.
Great ride, Michael McNabb, as he chases that premiership.
I thought
and
we
Warren
had
Kennedy.
it. Yeah, exactly. I thought we had it at the... Oh, jeez, I could see BP grinning. I thought we had it at the 100. I'd have to admit, I was
sitting next to you.
I do.
Passionate.
There was some groans on the line. I'd have to say, as I saw my money fly.
Poor desk.
Out the desk. Poor desk. Poor little TV. Yeah, and of all the horses too, Mr. Universe, he's a good horse. He wouldn't be a bad horse to own, but gee, Bob up regularly. We had the favourite beat. We had the second favourite beat. We were home for all money pops.
You were. In those situations there, do you get the lean on? Do you sort of lean with it to try and get that Mr. Universe out of play? Do you lean with it? I'm a real leaner on the line.
Yeah, sort of to try and get the line up a bit quicker. That's what we needed. I was doing everything that day. I was financially invested in the result, I'd have to say, on every level. And somehow it must have realised I'd backed it because managed to fall in a hole on the line. Thanks for that, Steve, by the way.
My pleasure.
Appreciate
my
that.
Pleasure.
Okay, let's head to Te Rapa, guys. We want to get through 3 races up there, but let's talk about weather and track conditions first, Steve.
The last meeting was a couple of weeks ago, back on the 4th of May. It was a heavy 8 that day. Look, it remains a heavy 8 fortnight on. Rail goes out 8 metres, I think from memory it was 4 metres 2 weeks ago. Light winds, fine conditions, but like Trentham/Wellington, Upper Hutt region, no rain forecasted today if you're watching the show live on Friday, but more importantly on race day, so I'd be doing the form around that 8.
Yeah, okay, let's have a look at race number 5 on the card to kick things off. The Dunstan Horse Feeds, 1,300 metres, the open handicap, and yeah, I like this race. There's a few angles here, Steve.
Yeah, compressed market, freeze frame. He's just found another Lisa Life, should I say, 3.8. In front of turn the ace at $4. Dusty Road in that third line at 5. Mock time resumes here at a $5.50 quote. Then you've got the second division, Tavere at 12, with Bellardo Boy who resumes, Arisha Rish at $13. Gaspodin at 16 off a peak of $18, and Orange Pearl best of the rest at 21. So, look, overall summary, turn the ace, punters reinvesting on the back of its first up win at a $4 quote, but there's a little bit of specking around Dusty Road and the fave.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I want to start with freeze frame though, BP. Warren Kennedy, the Lance O'Sullivan Award recipient, but this form stacks up quite nicely now, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? The Carmen line form, it really does hit you in the face, doesn't it? And even the reference with Sumi too, who's in this race. It was a gun ride. Let's just look at it again with in the Tangerine with freeze frame, and that's the best way to be able to get the best out of this horse is have that last shot at them. And gee, Warren got that bang on here with freeze frame, beating Carmen line, came out and won the Rotorua Stakes last weekend. Sumi's been placed, and of course goes towards that Rangatike Gold Cup as a strong chance. Look, he likes this venue. He does operate well here. He's had 7 starts for a couple of wins, 3 minor placings. Track conditions should be ideal. It's not going to be. It's going to be around that 7, maybe 8. We have had rain over the week. It was in that heavy 8 bracket, but the weather has been kind over the last 24 hours, and it's dawned a beautiful morning here today in Hamilton. So should be around that 7 mark, you'd imagine, with a bit of moisture in the ground. So yep, everything about him. And I know the owners every time, and this is a little throw to the people that I speak about when getting back on track. They love the leg up, and they love it when we talk about freeze frame. So there you go, team. Freeze frame, a big chance tomorrow.
A huge chance with that Carmen line form around freeze frame. I want to have a look at another one of those, Steve, and that's Turn the Ace. Resume with a win at a course it loves, gets those same sort of similar conditions tomorrow, and potentially goes better second up.
This was the Open, was it Open 12, Open 13 from memory. Look, they went out okay, 36 and change to the 600, very strong last 600. But look, he presented first up last run was back in October. He had a trial win leading into this race, and it was very dominant on the eye. Look, again, no knock on the numbers, class rating a fraction above there. This weekend on paper, likely leader once again, Thaddeus. Loves the joint, 6 wins now at Te Rapa. Yeah, like I say, that was 1,200 metres, steps up to the 1,300 metres. He's yet to win at 13, but it's a very unusual distance. He's had the one start over 1,300 for a placing. He does go up 3 kilograms, so that is a slight negative if you're looking at all the variables. And I do feel this race is a touch stronger than what it presented 2 weeks ago at Te Rapa over 1,200 metres. Saying that, Opie jumps aboard, so that almost negates that 3 kilogram weight increase. But again, if he can get a similar time in front from those sectionals over 1,200 metres last start, he's going to have every chance and be very hard to run down Turn the Ace.
Okay, he is a winner, no doubt, Turn the Ace. BP, coming back to you with Dusty Road, a little bit of a flashing red light around this horse resuming, particularly off the back of this trial.
It was. I think we might have just dropped that gold nugget last Friday, actually, when we were talking about La Creek, who finishes second in this. Look at the horse who wins this trial in Dusty Road. Where's he going? He runs tomorrow, does Dusty Road. He has blinkers on. Every time that he has won, he's had blinkers on. So he looks ready to go. He should get a track condition that'll be suitable for him. He's a handy galloper. He really is. And he could be in for a nice preparation. You boys haven't missed him. He sits at a quote of $5. And as I think, as Stephen said, this is a highly competitive race. As much as Turn the Ace has those right stats in his favour, being second up and gets to a venue where he turns up and wins, this is a really good field, isn't it? And we haven't even touched on Malt Time yet, who's a 2-time Group 1 place getter this season. But Dusty Road, he's right in this with a lightweight and getting on those track conditions he likes.
Yeah, 100%. Dusty Road, Steve, nice trial, threatening to do something pretty good this preparation, I would have thought.
Yeah, he maps well as well. He's got tactical speed. He can position the first 4 or 5. He's drawn a decent gate for Jasmine Fawcett to use it. Look, he is first up, so he's going to take natural improvement, but he's gone okay in the past first up in that mode. So, look, I think overall it'll be a market that gravitate naturally to the top 3 in the market. There'll be a specking in the middle market, but I think when it comes to the business end tomorrow afternoon, the top 2, obviously, who've got recent form at Te Rapa, but I think Dusty Road will continue that money flow.
Okay, well, what about money around Malt Time? That's the 4th favourite, BP. You did mention it, as you say. Building a pretty good credential book is Malt Time. Here's the trial. Yeah,
and look, Malt Time, this horse has competed in Group 1 races and has been twice Group 1 place this season, over the mile. Of course, it was a first up 6th in a Tarzino as well, over 1,400 metres, so we know that the horse can perform in a fresh state. I know she's better once she gets into her preparation, but she's drawn 1. She'll be just looking for that cold shot. They'll be hoping that she can get, 3 back the fence, somewhere in that position. She might end up back, maybe 4 back the rail, something like that, but she should get a cosy run in transit, and she'll be one that'll be just working home beautifully into the race. And a must for same race multi-punters, I thought, if you're looking for that 3rd and 4th, or if you're trying to play a first 4, if there's a carry forward somewhere. Actually, there's a big maiden race number 4. There might be just bearing watching there. What happens in race number 4? If a roughie wins that, you might get a jackpot. And it might mean we get into a race number 5 with a nice little carry forward in the first 4. So I would definitely be holding Malt Time somewhere on a ticket on the first 4.
Okay, final thoughts here, Steve, in the race. Can you see anything outside those top 4, and who are you settling on to win the race?
Well, like I say, I think they're going to really gravitate the punters towards the top 2 in particular, but I do think there'll be a specking for others, including Dusty Road, who we've already touched on. But look, I think if I'm just going on pure ratings and what I've seen the last 2 to 3 weeks, Freeze Frame comes out on top, just in front of Turn the Ace. But if you look at the draws, Freeze Frame is probably going to get back to the last third. It's drawn a sticky gate where Turn the Ace, we know he's going to be controlling the speed up top. Doesn't look like a huge amount of pressure, so that makes almost a flip of the coin for me. Not that I like to sit on the fence, but what I'll do is I'll just assess how the track's playing before I make my final call on Freeze Frame and Turn the Ace. If it's just a little bit off the rail and they're coming down the middle part of the track, wide gates are not so much of a negative, and that might make me lean towards Freeze Frame. But yeah, I'll be keeping an eye on Digger. I'm not saying he's gonna win tomorrow, but he's 3rd up early in a preparation. He probably wants it in that 9-10 range in terms of heavy track conditions, but I just feel from his first up to his second up run, he improved enough to show that he's competitive 3rd up. Like I say, he would have wanted a little bit more rain, but if he can finish in the top 4 or 5, he might be a bet 4th up. Okay, that's interesting around Digger. Look, Steve's done the right thing, BP, having Freeze Frame on top in the race. The owners will be pleased. Can you follow suit here?
They certainly will be. Look, this is a race where there'll be a number of horses that are looking for a wetter ground and really pay to follow. Bellado Boy, Gospodin, Helena Baby. Once the tracks get to 8, 9, 10 plus, that's when you'll start seeing those horses at the top of the market. They're not for this race. A couple of them are first up, but a real watch around those runners that get the wet track conditions they need. Look, I'm going to roll the dice on Dusty Road. I really did like the trial, and I think that he can be in the right spot with those dangers being certainly freeze frame and turn the ace and molt time. So trying to work out that combination, put them in the mixer somewhere, and hopefully it spits out a nice healthy figure either on a top four, either on a first four or some same race multis.
Yeah, let's hope for the jackpot, as BP said in race number 4. So we get into race 5, a tricky race. BP going with Dusty Road, and that trial suggests very, very close to the mark. Race 1, Steve's the next one we want to have a look at. It's the KPMG 3-year-old over the 1,100 metres. The market, please.
Headed by I'm a Brazen One, who was very impressive in the CD a few weeks ago at $3 flat. Pukuru Gold, interesting run at 3.8. Enough money suggests it's ready to go for Mark Walker and Sam Burgesson. Wind of Change at 4.5. City Girl at 6.50. Double figures around the debutante and Full Noise at $10. Don't Tell Rachel, but a speaking there at $14 for a horse that likes to go, likes to jump and run. And then best of the rest is Driftin. I should mention Back the Angel. Even though it's the ranking here at 21, if the race was to jump right now, and I know that's the natural high lay price, it is clearly our worst way home, Back the Angel. So look, that money will dry up naturally being a debutante, but talking Friday morning, there is definitely some specking for Back the Angel.
Okay, that's interesting. I want to start with the CD visitor Mike Breslin brings on a Brazen One here, BP, and this is a replay of its last win at Otaki.
It is, and it's a runner that has really improved off her first up performance when she was beaten at Trentham to be able to deliver this win, and quite an emphatic victory as well. Mike Breslin, he knows when he wants to bring the horses north, because we've seen him do it a number of times and been successful at doing it. Just a slightly sticky gate, but boy, she does have the barrier speed to overcome it, doesn't she? And there looks to be a little bit of tempo underneath her, but with Craig Grills aboard, riding confidently, he was aboard that day, and I'm sure that they can look to ride this horse with a bit of confidence again, because from a barrier draw of 8, they were pretty keen to push forward and work to the top and get the job done there. And she's drawn barrier number 9 for tomorrow's assignment, so that may not scare them off. Very good win, and she's deserved to be right at the top of the market, and quite a key player, especially when you try and line up either the maiden victories from a couple of other runners, or even Pukuru Gold, who does come into this with an emphatic win on the synthetic last season and a couple of trials under the belt for him.
Yeah, 100%. Pukuru Gold, 1 from 1, Steve, and I think we're going to have a look at the trial. Made an impression, albeit on the synthetic, but hitting the line strongly here in the trial.
Yeah, been waiting for this horse to resume. Must have had a slight setback. As BP alluded, won its maiden on the synthetic, but smashed the clock that day. And you see here its latest try of 850 metres. Babylon Berlin just too fast, the Group 1 performer. But you see there in the Tangerine, just running into third, and just watch it through the line, all its best work for Pukuru Gold. The intriguing runner, as BP mentioned, there's a lot of speed in this race, Thaddeus. The likes of I'm a Brazen One, Wind of Change, Don't Tell Rachel, who's drawn barrier 2. There's going to be some heat in the first furlong or two. I think Opie can just smoke his pipe in that third, fourth slot and just hope for that slipstream coming around the turn. And I've got no doubt this horse has above average ability, Pukuru Gold. But yeah, intriguing runner. Not sure where its SP lies, basically because we haven't seen it for so long. And it's a funny race when you've got a lot of debutants, etc., to weigh up the starting prices, but I'm leaning towards the 1. I think he might have a bit of X factor. Okay,
what about the 1, BP? Because there is money for it at 3.8 Pukuru Gold, and you did mention it there prior.
Yeah, look, this horse could just slot into a perfect spot, really. Good with all that speed that's in and around him. Those trials have been good. I thought that most recent trial was very sound through the line behind Babylon Berlin. Yeah, the setup looks nice around him. I think he's a distinct, strong danger to the favourite, even though the favourite and I'm the Brazen One does bring that up in running form.
Yeah, what about City Girl, BP? Because I want to bring you in for the Mudda replay of its resuming win for the Andrew Forsman barn. Who was on that day? City Girl with Craig Grills, Joe Doyle aboard tomorrow.
Yeah, and look, this is a race too that has stood up from the maiden that we showed you for the maiden of the week, because the runner that runs second in this race is Merch, has come out and finished third behind Joshua Brown. And we have had a winner out of this race in the Nick Bashara runner out wide there in Navy Chief. So there's a little bit of form around this maiden with what City Girl did. And there was a good push for her heading into this race for Andrew Forsman and the Little Avondale colours. Again, she'll just be hoping that they can slide somewhere here from a middle barrier draw, let the speed go in the race. It's over 1,100 metres, and hope they can find that right position and try and do something like they did there. If they get in the slipstream somewhere and can start rolling at the right time, well, she does bring some up and running form with that very good victory on what was a heavy 8 surface. She should get something in that similar bracket, in that 7 zone. She should be right in the mix, stepping up from that maiden win.
Okay, how are you going to attack the race, BP? What are your final thoughts here? Who have you got on top in the 3-year-old 1100?
Look, I find it. I keep coming back to the recent form with I'm a Brazen 1, and it's just going to be down to how Grills assess that early speed and where those horses land. She does have the barrier speed to be able to get a position. Just depends on what else kicks up underneath. If Pakuta Gold gets in that right spot and just sits off to the tempo, I think he could be the one to beat at the same time. If you're looking for a little smoky in the race,
we always are.
Full Noise, runner number 4, the son of Turn Me Loose, bounces out of an okay trial. There was a little margin between the front 2 runners, but the horse who ran second in that trial has come out and won most recently. And Warren Kennedy aboard. Look, they might go mad up front, and Wazza might just land midfield and try and run home nicely. So yeah, just a little watch on Full Noise in that race.
Oh, I like that, out there at $10 around Full Noise. Sounds like you might be leaning towards the one here, Steve, Pakuta Gold.
Yeah, Pakuta Gold, I've got it on top. I just think he's a bit of X factor, and just the way the race is going to unfold, there's going to be plenty of heat in the first furlong or two, and I think Opie can assess that and get the last split. As BP said, there's a few here that are first up, a little bit of specking around Back the Angel, Full Noise. Keep an eye on these horses and see what they do as we get deeper into the winter. I'm a Brazen 1. You've got it in the mix. The horse I'm going to take a little bit of a set on is City Girl. I'm just going to exclude that from top 2, top 3. I think if you want to back City Girl on the back of its Matamata win, I'd wait. It's currently at $6.50. I reckon it goes closer to double figures than the current price City Girl. But yeah, I'll go with the 1. I think it's got a bit of upside and a little bit of X factor around it.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Both the boys having the 1 right up in their numbers. BP found a little bit of value in the 4 Full Noise. We want to quickly have a look at race number 6 on the card, Steve, before we get out of here and run us through this market. It's the PGG Rights and Grain 2100 for the rating 75 gallopers.
Yeah, Solidify. 3-year-old taking on the older horses here at 75, as you mentioned. $2.60 into $2.45. Blue Sky at night, very impressive. Gee, the punters got rewarded. They found this horse first up a few weeks ago at Te Rapa at $5. Pop the Bubbles at $5.50. Black Queen at $7. Kentucky Rose dropping back in grade at $9. And then double figures, DB Belfeur, who's been winning them back to back in recent times. So, look, I'd have to say the best lead is clearly with the 3-year-old here, Solidify. Back up and trip. It's been a bit of a yo-yo preparation. 16, 2,000, back to 16, now up to 2,100 metres, 260 into 245. It's a strong push early doors.
Yeah, it's a strong push. I'm going to stay with you, Steve, because I want you to tell me whether you're with Solidify or not, because that's basically the guts of the race. And then if you're not, who is on top here? I feel like you want to take a bit of a set against Solidify here.
I do.
Yeah.
I just don't think the numbers are quite there, even though we've had a little bit of smart money, as we call in the office, to get its price into $2.45 off the peak of $2.60. Look, he's carrying 59 against older seasoned horses here. That's a big ask for a 3-year-old. So if he's to do the job, that's impressive for Solidify. I don't know. I'm not sure what they're weighing up around this horse post this race. Are they still looking towards a Brisbane campaign? I'm not 100% sure, but look, I still feel his best prep or best distance is 1,600 metres. That's been produced on performance ratings, etc. So he steps up to the 2,100 metres, which is a slight concern for me. He just regresses slightly this time in Solidify. Look, overall, I think Pop the Bubbles has a bit of sense of timing. Third up, comes out of a strong race, as we've already seen on earlier in the show. Extortion won that day. King of Hearts, who's running in the feature at Trentham, finished second. I think Pop the Bubbles, if it can just progress from what it did first up to second up and now third up, it'd be very hard to beat. I think stepping up to the 2-1 is suitable. Blue Sky at Night, nothing wrong with its figure last start when winning. Yeah, there's 3 or 4 here, even Black Queen. Similar boat to Pop the Bubbles, just third up out of a strong race that Trav won in the CD. Has a bit of sense of timing, the ex-Aussie. So there's a few there, BP. But just on the price, Solidify, I thought he deserved to be $3 and north.
BP, Solidify, yes, no. If no, where?
I think if he brings his best form, he wins the race, doesn't he? Of course, this time last year, he won a stakes race and then was making his way to Brisbane, where he competed in 2 races. There, what was it, the Size Produce and the JJ Atkins. I'm happy to have something on Blue Sky at Night again. I mean, that performance was unbelievable, really, wasn't it? She drops back to 54.5 kilos, an amazing training performance to go from beaten in a Dunstan Horse Feeds final over 2,400 metres to come out and smoke them first up over 1,600 metres. Can she do it second up? Of course, after being such a big performer, fresh up after a long layoff. I reckon she can. I think she's worth a play, getting up to that 2,100 metres and some weight relief on Solidify. So, yeah, Blue Sky at Night with Solidify somewhere in my numbers for sure, because, as I said, if he brings his best form, he is the one to beat.
Four-play time on the leg up, your chance to win a $100 4-leg bonus cash multi with our 4 good things of the weekend. I want to apologise for my performance last weekend. Paul Mowaiti got a scratching. That was the only way he was going to get his one home, but you boys both hit, and we were over before it began with my selection of Loch Katrine there at Rotorua. So I've got a lift. We're all about self-evaluation here on the leg up. BP, where's your best bet or good thing of the weekend? What have you landed on for the 4-play?
I've gone with Islington Lass in the Rangitikei Gold Cup. Sits top 3 at $1.55. I know Stephen's ultra keen on it to win the race. $1.55. I almost went top 4 for $1.40, but we'll take that juice on the 155.
Stephen?
Yeah, I'll go to We Will Rock. As I said earlier in the show, I think he's the horse to beat, just with that residual fitness over the Group 1 performer. I'll take a little bit of insurance there because she is quality, top 2 at $1.30. Okay,
I'm going to have to admit here, I'm Silver Javelin, race 3 at Te Rapa. Just for accountability and ownership, just so if the Silver Javelin doesn't finish in the top 4, we know who to blame. Paul's with race 2, Revoluto, top 4 at $1.65. So, what's a Revoluto, by the way, just quickly?
Yeah, debutante,
from
memory by a reliable man, the Tony Pike stable. Opie Bosson, not often does he ride for Tony Pike, so punters are climbing into that at roughly around about the $5 quote.
It was good trial.
That's like,
good trial.
Oh, good trial. Okay, cheers, BP. That's more like Mowaiti to have a first starter as his good thing of the weekend in a 4-play, but fair play to him. He didn't fail the team last weekend. I did. Okay, get to the Facebook page, get with the leg up question this week, which we'll work out at a later date, but you could be into doing that 4-leg bonus bet multi, $100, and if you're playing along at home, good luck. Okay, best bet time on the leg up, but before we look forward to what we've got this weekend, let's have a look at how we managed to go last weekend.
I'll go the first race out of Rotorua. I do like Geriatrics. Huge run in the Cambridge Breeders from back last to storm home into 7th position to make all the right sectionals in the race.
Geriatrics bounded to the lead, short of the line. Favourite will deliver in the first. Geriatrics won it.
I'm going to go to New Plymouth, race 4, small field, but I do like the look of one of the Ellen Sharrock runners. Number 2, Sumi.
It's Rocka Baby, Lisa Allpress at her brilliant best here. Oh yes, and all the way victory again for Allpress, and Rocka Baby did it beautifully. Second, Sumi.
I'll go to the lucky last Ottawa Park, the rated 65, 1,400 metres. Pure Fiction was super when winning on this track a few weeks ago.
Shantae Moa will win the last. Drop of Something second. Photos for third. Lover Roadie with Vino Valentino and Slipper Island flashing at them late out wide. Watergate wasn't that far away. Followed by Girls Light Up with them also Strange Love, if I didn't call it earlier, for Moon Money. With those as well, Mr. Rockcat from That's All She Wrote, Pure Fiction.
I feel like those producers have a sort of take a perverse pleasure in playing out the whole commentary if you've finished near dead last, as Pure Fiction did last Saturday. You think, goodness for you, BP, or it would have been an absolute whitewash. Geriatrics, onwards and upwards for Geriatrics off the back of that one.
Yeah, look, he was good, wasn't he? And a cut and ride too from the jockey too. She was very close to getting their LAO award, and Sam Spratt with that win aboard Geriatrics. Let's talk about this weekend though, and I'm going to the last race out of Trentham and Latrell. Boy, it was death by 1,000 paper cuts, wasn't it, when watching Latrell go around at Uruakaka last time to the races. Absolutely unlucky, and let's hope that hopefully this time we've got the money gun out and Latrell can get the job done in the last at Trentham.
Yeah, okay. I was on that day, BP, so I know exactly what you're talking about with Latrell. Just couldn't quite get there. Paul's best bet. Geez, he's gone to a tricky race. He's gone to that Solidify race, BP Stephen, and he's gone with Kentucky Rose. Out there it was double figures. It was $11, trickled into $9. And if you don't like the favourite, it's another one of those contenders, Kentucky Rose, I would have thought.
As I say, big drop in grade and took on the stronger mares last start at Te Rapa and didn't disgrace itself. So, yep, well found.
Okay, very good. And your best bet of the weekend is?
Yeah, I'll go with Islington Lass. Many people are going to have this as their best of the weekend, but look, she just presents at the right time. Alan Sharrock loves working back from a grand final. I think this may be her last run this time, and before we see her at Hawke's Bay in the spring, Islington Lass. Don't get put off by the second last start. It was her best performance to date in terms of a historic performance rating. And yeah, I just feel at 1,600 metres, Trentham suits with the presence of Just Ask Me. She sits off the minimum. Islington Lass is my best.
Okay, very good. There's the best bets for this weekend. It's time to talk promos. Paul's not here, but boy, oh boy. I don't know what's happened here. No excuse not to have a bet this weekend. Bonus back races on every race at Te Rapa, Flemington and Doomben. Second, third or fourth, bonus back in, bonus cash up to $50. So all races at those three venues are bonus back races. The odds surge, as BP's quite rightfully mentioned, is at Trentham, and there's a couple of chances to take an advantage there. But yeah, massive weekend of bonus back racing, BP. So we need to get your bonus back or suggested bonus back bet. What have you got for us?
I've gone to Doomben, a horse I've been following through his last couple of starts, New Endeavour, out of the Waterhouse Bot Barn. A couple of good runs of late over shorter distances, and goes up to a distance for the Chairman's, which is 2,000 metres, sits around $6 race for Doomben.
Okay, Paul, he's gone to Te Rapa race 8. He's gone with the Prophet. Here it is. The Prophet race 8, Te Rapa for Paul. Steve?
Yeah, I'll go to the Maiden Mile, Wolf Rayette, just backing up what I saw visually, but also on the clock. Finished second in behind Queen Zoo, who rated through the roof that particular race. So, look, it's drawn a sticky gate, and that's why I'm making it my bonus back. A little bit of insurance there if it can get beat in the first 4, Wolf Rayette. Okay,
I've gone for an absolute shy at the stumps. Doomben race 5, Jojo Was a Man. Resumed with a 0 in the form line, goes to Doomben, wasn't the Hawkesbury Cup, goes to Doomben, and out there at big odds. Group 3 place getter, Jojo Was a Man, I thought at 17, around $20. Absolute shy at the stumps. I'm taking advantage of bonus back racing this weekend. BPs, I'm sure you will be. Thanks for all your efforts as always, and you'll be at Te Rapa tomorrow, I presume.
Certainly will be, yep. We'll be there for our racing card. Really good program of racing to look forward to, and yeah, can't wait to be there. So yeah, we'll catch you next week, lads.
Yeah, catch you in 7 days' time. BP, thanks, Steve, for your efforts as always. Do we know where we are next weekend?
Yeah, Trentham, I go back to back, and I think the main meeting is at Pukekohe. Back at Pukekohe, the Champagne Stakes for the juveniles for 1,600 metre distance. Okay, thanks, Steve, for all your efforts as always. Get stuck into that bonus back racing. Doomben, Flemington and Te Rapa, all races bonus back. And we'll see you in 7 days' time on the leg up.